Hello, fellow readers and booktubers. I'd like to respond to the Hold My Place book tag. I'd been tagged by Kevin Toll at Kevin Toll Reads, who in turn had been tagged by Charles at CG Rated Books, and he had been tagged by Meg at Books Off the Beaten Path. I think Meg was the one who created the tag and wrote the prompts for it. It's a tag about bookmarks, which is one of those topics that I never really thought about much, never gave it much consideration. And then, but as I thought about it more, I realized that, yeah, this is not something I'm particularly interested in, but I liked the prompts. The prompts got me thinking, and I realized that I guess maybe I do have some thoughts about bookmarks. It just seems like one of those topics that maybe back in the, back in the 18th and 19th centuries, the Romantic poets like Shelley and Byron and Blake might have written something like the Ode to the Bookmark, because bookmarks are necessary for a reader. They hold your place in the book that you're reading. And if you're reading more than one book, if you have a couple books going at the same time, you need a couple of bookmarks, and they do their job, and they do it quietly. So maybe bookmarks do deserve an ode. I'm not the one to write it, though. Anyway, here are the prompts, and let's see what we can do with this. Do you know how many bookmarks you own? Not off. I didn't immediately think of this or give any deeper thought to this, but then I realized I usually have about 3 or 4 books going at a time. So that would require, of course, 3 or 4 bookmarks. And then I have a shelf here where I keep my notebooks and my pens and my staple and staplers and paper clips. And there was an old bookmark laying on that shelf too. So at a current count, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 bookmarks. All right. So I could say I've got 5 bookmarks. Prompt number 2, which of your bookmarks do you like using most and why? I'm not real picky about that, but I do like a bookmark where there's not a lot of fuss and muss, just a simple piece of cardboard. Here's a really good bookmark I like from Rosco Books. Very simple, not unobtrusive, not real big, just big enough to fit inside the book and hold the page that I need for it to hold. And that's really all I'm looking for. Although I do notice sometimes in these fancy book collections, like the Easton Press, I've got my copy of the Decameron by Boccaccio here. They will include the ribbon. I kind of like that. A ribbon is just a wonderful bookmark because it's not likely to fall out. But it's not a requirement for what I read. I just need a bookmark just to hold my place. If you can, show off a bookmark which is an example of a bookmark received as a gift or a bookmark advertising a bookstore. I've already shown you one of those, Rosco Books. Rosco Books is an independent bookstore in Roscoe Village. It's a neighborhood in the north side of Chicago. It's a great bookstore. And when you buy a book from them, they slip one of their bookmarks in there. Very simple, very discreet, not at all ostentatious. They do include their address at the bottom here and their website. Maybe I'll put that in the contents here on this post. But I like these. They're just perfect little bookmarks. They just do the job perfectly. And it is an advertisement for Rosco Books. It did come in a book that I received as a gift this past Christmas, so this kind of answers both of those questions. Here are a couple of others. This is a bookmark from Waterstone's Booksellers. See, this one's pretty much banged up. I've had this for a long time. There was a Waterstones in Chicago for a very brief time. I don't know why it didn't go, but it closed up pretty quickly. But Waterstones, I like the British, the London connection here with Waterstones. But you can see this is just kind of falling apart. Here's another Rosco Books, again all creased and beaten up. Forgive me, I don't treat my bookmarks well. The poor things. I should treat them with more respect. They help me out so much. This is one I got recently from Barnes & Noble. Of course, Barnes & Noble's got tons of little advertisements and special offers because it's Barnes & Noble. And here's a bookmark that I actually do. I guess if I thought about it, this is a bookmark that I do actually kind of cherish. This was from City Lights Books. City Lights Books this was ground zero for the beatnik movement back in the 50s. Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, William Burroughs. City Lights Books was founded by Lawrence Ferlinghetti In fact, on the bookmark, you actually see a picture of the man himself. I've been there. It's in San Francisco. I've been there a couple of times. It's the mecca for book lovers and especially people who love serious literature. City Lights Books is the place to be. I bought a book when I was there, and I got this bookmark. So I guess maybe, again, it's kind of creased and beaten up, but still, it does have a kind of. I do kind of cherish this one a little bit. It's a nice souvenir. All right. Also, show off a bookmark as an example of something that's not meant to be used as a bookmark. Well, I thought about this one for a little bit, and I realized that I do have a couple of things that are not meant to be used as a bookmark, but they work very well as bookmarks. As I mentioned in previous posts, I do come from a Roman Catholic background, and the Catholic Church, and I think other denominations too have some version of this. Holy cards are a big thing, and a holy card will have a religious image on it, or the picture of a saint. I think this is St. Augustine, and on the back of it there'll be a prayer. But these make for really nice bookmarks. I don't know if that's how they're supposed to be used. I hope I'm not engaging in some blasphemous action, but I do use a holy card every now and then. If you go to a wake, and sometimes there'll be prayer cards for the recently deceased, very similar to something like this. There'll be a religious image on it. In the back, there'll be the name of the deceased, when they were born, when they died, and a prayer for their soul. I use those sometimes as bookmarks in emergencies, hesitantly though. I would never use one where the image is a picture of the deceased, though. That would be morbid and kind of disrespectful, I think. But a holy card, this is not meant to be a bookmark. At least I don't think it is. But sometimes I will use them as bookmarks, hesitantly, and just feelings of Catholic guilt over that one. A bookmark using magnets or a bookmark with your name or initials on it, no. I don't need. I really don't like the fanciness there, and it's just unnecessary. And the magnet thing, I don't get. It seems like that'd be more trouble than it's worth. Do you have any special purpose bookmarks, or do you designate certain bookmarks for certain books? Not really. The closest I've ever come to that is using a holy card if I'm reading a book of theology. I might use a holy card because that just seems like it goes together. But again, it's not a real habit with me. It's just something I might do on occasion. Do you use anything unusual as a bookmark? Well, I just mentioned the idea of using a holy card as a bookmark. But outside of that, really nothing. Sometimes, in an emergency situation, or if I'm reading and I've lost the bookmark that I was using and I have to walk away from the book for a few minutes, I'll just grab whatever is handy. I'll grab, if there's a pen nearby or an index card, I'll just slip it in there and then come back to the book later on. One thing I do not do, though, is fold the corner page, the page, or fold the page, or bend the spine or something. I know people who do this. I think this is outrageous. I think this is vandalism of the highest order, and it should be punishable by law. I would never damage a book just to mark the place where I left off. So I just don't do that. So do I ever use anything unusual? No. At best, an index card, or I might stick a pen in there, and it's only a temporary thing, a very temporary fix. This kind of goes along with the sixth prompt here. Are there types of bookmarks that you don't like? Again, I don't like it when people bend the pages. I don't like those bookmarks that you often see for sale in the checkout line or the checkout counter at a used bookstore, or even at a big commercial bookstore like Barnes and Noble. They'll usually have that display with the bookmarks with the, they're usually, they've got lots of frills, and there's cords and strings hanging from it, and they'll be embossed in plastic or something like that. They'll have a saying on it or some pithy little thing, the kind of bookmark that will almost overpower the book you're reading. If you like that kind of thing, more power to you, but it's not for me. I like to keep when I read a book, it's between me, the book, and the author, and I don't want anything else intruding on that. And I certainly don't need a bookmark with my name on it. Are there types of bookmarks you do not own but would like to, or types of bookmarks you would like to have more of? Not really. I've got what I need, and I like to keep it simple. If you read ebooks, are you happy or unhappy with how your e-reader handles bookmarks. If unhappy, what would you change? Well, I don't read ebooks, so this is kind of a moot question for me. At any rate, that's it for the Hold My Place book tag. It looks like I've talked here for 10 minutes on a topic that I said I really wasn't that much interested in, but it was fun. And I want to thank Kevin for tagging me on this one. And I'll put the prompts just below here when I post this tag. So that's it for today, everybody. Keep reading and take care of yourselves.